Right, boys, I tried recording about 7 podcasts now and it's just not working today. So I'm just going to have a stream of consciousness chat and we'll see where it goes. And the main theme on my mind, other than the other podcaster I was trying to record, is this sense of pressure that people feel in their life. This is something that has been a theme and a continuation throughout my whole life, or since I was like 16, 17, which is this real pressure to perform, or this real pressure to improve myself, or to achieve the goals that I've set. And it's made me feel like I've been in a rush for so many years. I feel like I'm rushing and I'm constantly rushing and I'm constantly rushing. And it's like I spent that whole time rushing to get nowhere, to get where I am now. And if I look back at my younger self, when I was like 17, 18, 19, 20, even to a year ago, it's like the one common advice that I seem to reflect back at myself is just slow down. Is like, stop stressing so much. You're gonna be okay. You're going to get where you're going to get to anyway. Stop stressing so much and stop this so much internal pressure. And it's so easy to say from a place of hindsight. It's so easy to say from a place of mindfulness. And when I'm recording a podcast like this, or I'm in a more reflective state. But when you're in your day-to-day life of like the habitual process of going to work and going to the gym, and then just like things not going your way and not moving as quick as you want them to move, you can quite easily let that pressure build and build and build, and it becomes then this kind of like looming depression, this overhead that kind of like follows you everywhere you go. And it's this alarming sense of you're not where you want to be, you're not doing the things you want to do, and you're not as good as you should be. And this has been, again, a narrative and a theme that has just continued throughout my life. And I feel like the last year or so, it's getting quieter. Like that noise of the inner critic of like always analysing like where I should be in life and what I've not done and why have I not done this yet and why have I not achieved that. Like that inner critic is been toned down a little bit. And with that being toned down, that sense of pressure, that like heaviness in your head, that like rushy feeling to like get somewhere, has quieted down a little bit, and it's created a bit of empty space. It's created a bit of like peacefulness and maybe a bit more mindfulness. And to be able to sit in that empty space, to be able to sit into that lostness and realize that like I'm actually in no rush. I will get to where I want to get to. I've just got to put like my faith in myself and in reality. It's uncovering more transpersonal qualities in myself, and it's actually allowing me to get to the core of who I am a little bit more, which is really paradoxical, because I used to have this idea that to get to where you wanted to get to achieve the life, to be the person that I wanted to be, I had to be super disciplined. I had to always be pushing myself and beating myself up and not letting myself slip up, and be constantly on the grind, constantly working, constantly in the gym. And it's that like grind set mentality. That's what I kind of had ingrained into my mind, was like, you're only going to achieve your goals if you behave like this, if you have this mindset. And it felt like I was punching up a brick wall all the time. Like I was constantly trying to do something that, when I've let go of the expectation, I didn't have to try to do as much. And I think a lot of the trying, and this is funny because if you read like Charles Bukowski, the famous poet, as he says on his tombstone, don't try. So a lot of the Taoist kind of philosophy, like if you look at Wu Wei, which translates to effortless action, it's like, just act without trying. Like, you know how to do these things. You have this built-in mechanism, this kind of inner guiding force in us that is sending us to the right direction. It's like you kind of got to see it as fate is playing itself out, and there is a certain amount of discipline that's involved. There's a certain amount of like being able to bear suffering, but there is also an inner guiding force in us, and if we can attune into that, if we can get quiet enough and still enough, then that can actually direct us, and it directs us in the places that we need to go. And the whole art of this, the whole art of being quiet and following your intuition, is to be able to get quiet enough to realize that like what you think is your life is going to be like, what we think our paths are, is just the ego's conception. It's just a conception that comes from like a sub-personality, or a conception that comes from a complex, or our persona that's trying to fit into society. These are all like societal roles, or roles that have been created through childhood traumas, or roles that we've just somehow come to perceive that we need to go and fulfill out into the world. But there is this like true nature of who we are. I don't know why my camera's moving up and down, guys. It's really like spinning me out. I'm just gonna keep going. Hopefully, it's not too distorting for you. But yeah, this path that we want to follow, or this path that we think we need to follow, is just a conception in our mind. And what it does is we create this mental image in our mind of this is what my life's going to be like. This is what success looks like. And when life comes against that and we don't feel like we're following in the path of our mental image, it creates resistance to what's actually happening in life, and it kind of puts blockers on us attuning into life and using life to teach us and to guide us for where we need to go. And it's really difficult because there's two ways you can think about like trying to make a good life for yourself. It's rather you're the creator, you're the conscious creator, and you can envision things in your mind, and you can go and like discipline and will them out into the world, and then you can create a future for yourself. Or it's the other way, which kind of a lot of like the ancient religions kind of point at, and ancient spiritual texts, which is like there is a sort of like divine plan for you. And if you can just tune into God's message or the message of reality, if you can just get quiet enough and sit into that and tap into your intuition, like there is already a plan out there for you, and you just need to be able to be disciplined in the fact of sticking in with what life is serving you up right now. And I think there's real wisdom in that. And I think once you adopt that mindset of this is where I am right now, and I'm going to try and let the flow of reality flow, just naturally play its course. I'll get to where I need to get to, and on the way I'm gonna like do the things that feel right for me, whether that's if I want to start reading psychology to understand the mind, or I want to go to the gym and get healthy. I want to start like learning cryptocurrency. I don't know, whatever these things are that which your curiosity like gets you to pay attention to, then follow them and let the natural course of that play its role. But it's this really subtle feeling that we need to force things that I think really like stops us and prevents us from enjoying life and actually abstracting the lessons that allow us to feel like we are making progress and we are purposeful and we are doing the right thing. And it's so funny how a lot of people, when they say to their younger selves, it's like the one bit of advice I would give to my younger self is just to take a deep breath, like just to calm down, just to slow down, and to realize that you are on the right path. Like you're going to get there, and would you rather get there stressing and pulling your hair out and raising your cortisol up and just like living a stressful life, or would you rather get there in a peaceful, calm way and have patience and have this real sense of purposefulness, or that you are on the right path and things are going to unfold in a way that will benefit you? And it's just being able to sit there and realize that, wow, this is where my life is going right now. I'm here right now, and this is what life has served me, and I've got to accept that, and let's move from within here and not from where I think I should be. And it's that idea that I think I should be somewhere, like I should be there, I should be doing this, I should be doing that, I need to be this, I need to be that, and it just completely denies the fact that you're here right now doing what you're doing. And the real wisdom comes from looking at where you are, accepting where you are, like becoming aware of the things that are coming at you and going, all right, this is what I have to work with right now. I don't need to do this, or I don't need to do that. I need what I should do, or what I am doing is I am here right now, and let's work from where I am. And people try to work from where they should be instead of working from where they are. And when you work from where you should be, you get so much insecurity and anxiety because you're like subconsciously comparing yourself to this idealized version of you're famous, you're shredded, you're confident, you're finally free of anxiety or this addiction or eating disorder, whatever it is, whatever the thing is where what you should be, what you really idealize. When you try to act from that place, you get a constant comparison of where you're not, and it's a constant reminder of you're not good enough as you are because you should be here. And then it comes from a place of insecurity. Your life comes from a place of insecurity and anxiety because you're always trying to catch up with this should be, and you're never going to be perfect. Like it just can't happen. like humans are never going to do the exact right things all the time. Built into the existence of reality is mistakes, is trip ups, is things not going to plan. But it's just, you just got to learn to accept it. And once you can come from a place of, this is where I am now, and I'm going to make the most of the resources that are within me right now, and I'm going to do the best of my capabilities right now, not what the best perfect result should be. I'm just going to do the best of what I can do right now. And when you do that, and you try to come from a place of like a loving compassion for yourself, and it's more like, I don't know, let's just try today. Let's look at where I am. Let's see the things that are in front of me. What opportunities can I take? And let's take them, and let's progress. And if it's going to be slow, that's fine. It's slow. Some days I'm tired and I don't end up doing the work. That's fine. Some days and some weeks I'm really consistent, and just accept that it's a step-by-step process. And this step sometimes goes backwards. Sometimes it propels forward. Sometimes you stay stagnant for a while, and you just got to accept that this is the flow of life. It's the essence of life. Nothing is ever straightforward. Nothing is ever like narrow and straight to the point. It's a journey that we go on of just a step-by-step process. And I look at my own situation, and I'm really trying to be careful of trying to talk too much about myself, just because I think it can disregard parts of you that don't feel safe or don't feel heard. And if I'm sat here on a podcast speaking to like 80 people a week, or how many other people listen, and I'm telling them all about my insecurities and my anxieties, it can make me feel a bit unsafe sometimes, and like I feel a bit overexposed. So I don't want to share too much, and I think like vulnerability is pushed in this day and age. People are like, just be vulnerable, share yourself online, but I don't think people haven't done the inner work to make their inner child feel safe and feel heard. They haven't done the parts work of getting the complexes and the sub-personalities and bringing them into awareness, into a bigger ego, to make them feel like they truly understand themselves. So a lot of the times when people are being oversharing on social media, it's actually coming from a traumatic place. It's coming from a place of them trying to get attention, and that's not. And I feel like that's what I do sometimes, because I've not done. And here we go. I'm sharing as I say this. But yeah, like this is just going off a tangent, guys. But like, be careful of how much you share, even with people or on social media, because there's parts of you that need to be respected. There's parts of you that don't feel as safe as you might feel talking on this podcast, and you need to respect every part of you. But on from that tangent, I look at my life now, and I do feel sometimes like I do need to get in a rush. I need to be this online content creator. I need to be making money online. I need to be doing this. I need to be providing for my family. I need to be doing this and that. And this needs, wants. And it's all this narrative of where I should be, what I should be doing. And I feel like I've got this massive potential. I feel like I've cultivated this state of mind where I feel like I could really give to people. And when I don't see the results coming, it's like I should have done this earlier. I should be doing this. I should be doing that. And I get stuck in this all over myself. I'm like, why haven't you done this? Why haven't you done that? And when I get stuck down that thought loop and that spiral of I should be doing this, I should be doing that, it just creates a messy mind. It creates such a chaotic mind, and you start doing things very sporadically. You start doing like bursts of this and bursts of that. I'm gonna start reading loads of books. I'm gonna start going to the gym loads. I'm gonna start doing this. I'm gonna start on a diet. I'm gonna start this, and then you give up, and then you start and you give up, and you're constantly never making any continuous progress. But when you strip that back and stop looking at where you should be and realize that I'm here right now. What can I do today? What can I do tomorrow? What can I do that's within my capability, that doesn't feel too out there, that feels like it could be a natural progression? When you start thinking like that, you start making natural progress, and things start becoming easier, and you do things a lot more healthier. I feel like a lot of people, when they like try to propel their life to a different way, in like very instantaneously, it comes from this real place of insecurity and this real this scatteredness, and it is shame based. It really is. It's like, I hate who I am, so I'm going to use that energy of hating who I am to change my life. But then you start doing things that don't actually align with who you are as a person, and then you struggle to keep consistent with that because it doesn't align with you, and then you hate yourself even more because you didn't stay consistent, and then the cycle continues and continues and continues. But the real goal is to move at your own pace, and honestly, your own pace is slow. And it doesn't have to be slow in terms of like, it depends what your idea of fast and slow is. But do the right things now in a consistent and slow manner. And within 5 years' time, you'll be where you want to be. Within 10 years' time, you'll be the person that you feel like you can be. But if you try and change your life in 6 months into a year and you do it from this real place of like insecurity and anxiety, that fuel will run out very quickly. It might last you 6 months, it might last you a year, but then you'll burn out and you'll realize that everything you've done was based out of shame, and it'll make you feel even worse and you'll feel even more lost. I think you're better off just taking things slow and not progressing as quick, but being mindful and being in touch with your authenticity and how your body, the somatic feelings of your body, and just working through the things that need to be worked through. And that idea of working through the things that we need to work through is a really important one, because what you need to work through is the things that are really causing you suffering in your life right now. And then the things that you need to do are not the getting towards the I should be here. They're the things that are causing you suffering right now. Whether that be I've got anxiety when I speak to women, whether that be I've got an eating disorder, I've got this, I've got that. What are the alarming things that your body and your psyche are bringing up into your mind and are creating so much suffering in your life now? You need to dig into them. You need to sit with yourself and understand them. It understands that the parts of your psyche that are bringing these up. And by dealing with the things that are in the now, you then create a new future for yourself. And your conceptualization of your ideal future is coming from this place of insecurity and anxiety, because you don't actually know who you truly are. But when you sit in the now and deal with the anxiety that's in the now, the depression that's in the moment, when you deal with the things that are in your life at this current time, you unlock a new future for yourself. A new path opens up, and it's the actual path that you're meant to follow, not the path of the conceptualization of the persona of how to fit into society, of insecurity or anxiety. It's the real authentic path that opens up through diving into what James Collins says is the swamplands of the soul, is the negative emotions, is the lower unconscious emotions, because them lower unconscious emotions, once they've been sat with and they've been felt, they simultaneously unlock the higher emotions, because everything's a polarity. It's got what on one end and the other end. And so positive, negative emotions, when you sit down with the anxiety, sit down with the depression, by sitting with them and understanding them long enough, you unlock the higher transpersonal states of love, of confidence, of the higher unconscious states that you want from this idealized future. And it really is the beauty of dealing with the now. And this is ancient wisdom again. It's ancient meditative advice. It's just deal with what you're dealing with right now. Like, look in the present moment and what is in your life. What can you change in your life right now? Like, what are the things that you can actually take action on? And I definitely think a lot of my issues have come from not looking at where I am and refusing to admit the fact that maybe I am not as good as I should be. There we are. Not as that even phrasing is just gives you an insight into how my state of mind is I'm not as good as I should be. That's such a that is literally encapsulated what we were talking about right now. How I think I should be here, but I'm not. Yeah, when you deal with it now, you realize that, like, I don't need to be anywhere else. This is where I am, and when I can come from this place of like trying to improve my situation now, and just accepting it and working within what I have, I can transform that into something positive later on down the line that will open up, and it'll be natural instead of coming from a place of insecurity and anxiety. And so be patient with yourself, people, because like sitting with your anxiety or sitting with your depression or sitting with the self-sabotaging habits, the blockages that are making your life feel so like causing you so much suffering right now, sitting with them isn't an easy process. It's not a process that changes straight away. These patterns, these complexes might have been formulated through tens of 20s of 30s of years. Your whole life, these complexes, these sub-personalities, these self-sabotaging behaviors have been like birthed, and they've been gaining evidence and experience, and they're concretizing in your mind, and to be able to sit with them takes time, and it takes compassion and emptiness and space to allow them to feel heard and to feel seen. And this can be slow process, and often like progress in this sort of work, in psychological sort of work, can feel worse. It can feel like you're regressing, but that's actually can sometimes be a sign of progress. I found when I first started becoming aware of my anxiety, I was getting more anxious. When I first started like trying to overcome certain things in my life, I would find them flare up because I was sitting in them deeper. I was allowing the emotions to come up more, and then my life felt like it was opening up a little bit more. And I'm just in this process now of this kind of like empty part of my life where I don't know what I want from life. I really feel this inclination to talk about psychology, and to read psychology and to exercise. Like, these are the two anchors in my life that have stayed. I feel like they both came from a place of need and want, and like insecurity, but they've stayed as anchor points for me. And I really feel like them two are the holding points in my life. Is like psychology and fitness, and they seem to give me the purpose, and they seem to be the rock that I can always fall back on, the anchor that keep me on the ground. But in terms of how that manifests in the world, how that creates me a future, I have no clue right now. I'm so confused of what I want to do, but that is okay. That's okay, because when I just sit with that and I focus on, I'm going to just read some more psychology today. I'm going to make sure I go to the gym and maybe read a bit of a fitness book, make sure I work on my diet. When I do the things like that, I seem to find I progress. And I don't really know where I'm going with this podcast now, boys. I think that's me done. It was a nice short one today. I didn't really have much to talk about, but thank you very much for listening. Just remember to stay patient with yourself, people. And there's so much self-improvement advice out there. There's so many books to read. There's so many like videos telling you need to be disciplined, you need to be doing that you can really build up this internal pressure. And that internal pressure is already there. I know how it feels and I do feel like that now. It's not just you that feels like life is just passing them by, and we're getting older, and we're not where we want to be. And that whole idea of where we want to be is just an illusion, people. It really is. And you're doing fine. If you're listening to a podcast like this and you may be like thinking about developing yourself, you're working on the wrong path, or you're on the right path. You're taking steps forward, and that's so much more than what you could be doing. You couldn't be doing. You could be going out drinking every weekend and partying. You might be doing that right now, but you might have this idea that I want to free myself. And when you make this commitment to start listening to stuff like this, to start improving your life, like, this pressure can naturally build. But don't let that pressure overtake you, because that pressure is what is simultaneously making you feel like you're feeling now. It's what's simultaneously the pressure that's causing you to do the self-destructive habits. It's so subtle how, for me, self-improvement kind of became my self-destructive habit. Like, instead of the drinking and the partying, I changed it to constantly meditating and constantly reading and writing out to-do lists and timetables, and that became my new habit. That became my new self-destruction, because I was constantly setting these idealized versions, these perfect conditions, and I was never meeting them, and I was constantly beating myself up. And that then became a way of shame. It became a way of hate. And it's funny how shame just transformed into one end to another. Which the other end was better. The self-improvement shame was better, but it was still shame. And I found that after a bit, my desire to self-improve just gave up. And then I couldn't be asked doing it. And I really can't be asked doing it now. It's because for years, I just did it all for the fact that I wasn't good enough. I didn't feel like I was good enough. And if I would have just sat with the feelings, been a lot more patient, a lot more slow, I think my life would have been easier, would have been less resistant. And maybe I'd be in a different spot right now. Maybe not. Who knows? But thank you very much for listening, people. I hope that was helpful. I really hope that, you don't feel overly too lost in this busy world. We live in a chaotic world. Our attention spans are so frazzled. Like, this is another topic that I could talk about on another day. But our minds can feel so scattered. And I know you can just feel like you're struggling to get control. But the idea of you trying to get control is probably what is causing you to have a lack of control. So just let go of the pressure. And you'll find a lot of empty space open up and a lot of awareness, and you can move from a better place from there. But yeah, people, thank you very much for listening. I don't know what that point was about. I'm going to go and let my dog in now because he's been barking at the door for about 30 minutes for this whole podcast. But yeah, I'll see you all in the next video.